Hi, everybody. How are you? Happy middle of the week. Okay, let me see if I can get my dog to come here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Hi. Okay, let me close this one second. Uh, okay, close. All right. Hi, Debak. They're saying hi to you. Let me say hi to everybody. So remember the last time I told you that there were a lot of haters waiting for us to talk about the lawsuit of Team Bunnies and I was stalling. It worked. So they just sent me a lot of curses via DM. But at least they did not disturb us here. Okay. So they were like, I hope you blah blah blah. You get R word or K word. But at least they didn't disturb us in the chat room. Okay. Um, one second. Let me close my. Okay, let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Leah, Norwegian, Fire Butterfly, Carla, Shelling, Alicia, Norwegian Wood, Angel Star, Carol, Kathleen, Seda, Salmart, OSP, Leah, Cindy Wards, Red Spear, Fire Butterfly, Jolie, Leah Burton, Emily. I am Claudia, Cindy, Warren, Miriam, Crystal, Bang Luna, Pia Sambleben, Pia Sambleben, Letitia, Leah, Carol, Arlene, Maritz, MLB, Pia, Jolie A, Fire Butterfly is on Twitch, Miriam, Linax, Angel Star is also on Twitch, Amy, I, Carmi, Dura, E, Davis, Helena, Abron, Sinri, from Cali with Love, Seda, OT7, Arden Thomas, Alta 444, Dodger Girl is also on Twitch, Ozzy, Norwegian Wood, MGIF, Seven Purple Pearls, Share Your Love, Raquel, Lisa, Candice, Coogie. Coogie is also on Twitch. Oh, a lot of Twitch people today. Linax, because you called them out or because of you of what you discussed? Because I made fun of them. They didn't like that. And I was like, because I kept on saying I was stalling, right? Because they were, I wanted to make them sweat for it. So they were so angry that I was making fun of them, stuff. So they were like, F you. I hope you go to blah, blah, blah. I hope you get this, the R word or, things like that. Wonder Human, Mama Ja. Brissa, Z, Arashi, Abron, EG, Lisa Parker, Linax. My only wish is that I hope, I don't usually open the second layer of messaging in X because in X, or even on YouTube, there are certain messages. I guess if the AI determines it to be like offensive or derogatory, maybe derogatory, not really defamatory, they usually would put it in another layer of protection, I guess, that you don't see it unless you actually click on it and open it. And I don't usually open those, for better for worse. Very rare. Maybe once, twice a year I would open. And so after that, I decided, okay, I'm gonna open and see what are the messages that came in. And like maybe 50 messages. I'll say about 25 to 30 unique people sent, meaning one, yeah, unique entity. And then each one would send me like at least 5 messages of hate and just like cursing me and stuff. Yeah, I did mean dog, but I'm so sorry. I was so sleepy. Not really sleepy, but more like tired because I just finished like some stuff, some work, and then I watched AYS with my friend. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about AYS. So, yeah, I did not copy, check. I did not proofread it. Hi from the Philippines, She, Sinri, Maria Alvarez, Jay Cabrera, Shelling, Raynette, Wonder Human, Mama Ja, Brisda, ZR, Shea Brown. Okay. I think just me, CDV, Nigma Price, Hani Ree, Mabuhay from the Philippines. Christy, Miriam, Michelle Santiago, iCarmi, Shelly, ZR. Okay. I think I said hi to everybody. Callie, we love Ashley, Pia, Nigma Price, Bora Winkle, Maloida, from the Philippines. Hello. That's a lot of messages. Linax, and the Big Nights, and the Angel Star, Bang Luna. Sorry. Abraham, hateful people don't like being labeled or called out for being hateful. Love to play the victim. Yeah, that's actually what happened. They were like, oh, because you have a big blah, blah, blah. You have a big following and you're not giving other people a chance. And exactly. Everything that you would expect they will say, they said. Mary. And those are the nice ones because they were like, I hope you get our word or stuff. Bang Luna, I can't say here. Otherwise, YouTube might censor me. Seven Purple Pearls, Sylvia, Leah from Cali with love, Rani, Abram. Okay, I think I said hi to everybody. Hi, everyone. So last night, I came from work yesterday. Not work, but like things that I need to do. Like, well, it is work, but not like a regular work. Some projects that we're doing. And so I was already a little tired after the day, but I watched AYS with my friend, and he's supposed to fly later this afternoon, and so he just did that for me, like because it's just so kind. And he was so frustrated because he said that this is the worst translations of all the things, of all the AYS we've episodes that we've seen together since season 1. This is the worst one that's been translated. Like, he said that we basically are getting like 20-25% of what they actually mean, and then the rest is just like, he was so pissed with the texts on the screen, and he was like, he doesn't understand why whoever is subbing it, instead of like using certain words that they think approximate the meaning of what they are actually saying in English, he was like, why don't you just put the context, like put an asterisk on that word and put a little explanation on what that is. Like, he knows that armies would actually bother to read, and he said that, like, if it were him, if it was his decision, if it was him planning all of these things, he would create a certain or a separate page per episode explaining the nuances of the language, because he feels that that's going to serve the Hangul, the Korean language, better than trying or forcing to explain it or translate it in English, because it simply does not um, capture what they are talking about. So we watched it longer than usual because he kept on pausing, he kept on explaining things. And then the other thing is that Hi Boy and DJ Gino are good if they are actually translating it. So yeah, so he what he would usually do. So he would pause like every now and then, to very often, to explain some things. And then it's not just really the words, but also, as I've said in my, that in my members only live, I try to communicate everything my friend communicates with me. And he said that really 50%, of maybe even more, of the actual meaning of what they are talking about is actually in the intonation, the tone of how they're actually talking, and the action. So it's just, so the language is so highly contextual that, AYS, are you sure that if you don't understand that, if you don't understand the tone, if you don't understand the context of what they're talking about, you're really losing 50% of that. So there he was like, he's so frustrated. Like, that is one way to actually share, like get people to understand the Korean language, but it's lost because they're not putting enough effort into translating something like this. And I think he is right. Like, if are you sure if the staff actually bothers to create like like per episode explanation of the language, I think people would definitely bother. Like, I'm sure that half of the people here would actually bother and go to that page and understand the nuances of the language. So it's like lost opportunity for Hangul to be understood. They should get a literary translator, or at least get the context and intent right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. As I do agree with the suggestion of my friend that I I think if they bother to create like a separate page or a downloadable something, or some, I don't know, like just someone that will explain the nuances of the language, the words, what the tonality actually means and stuff like that. I think armies would actually bother to understand it. So yeah, so I agree. I think it's a lost opportunity for them because it's such a like a teachable moment. It could have been a teachable moment. Like all the things that these two are doing, because they're so animated, so spontaneous, and a little bit more loose when they are doing, compared to when they are doing group content. They're a little bit more loose here. Then we could actually capture the nuances of the language better, but it's lost opportunity. It would drive the shippers crazy. um, yeah, I guess so. But you can't. I It has been my policy for quite some time now to not cater to haters or crazy people. So I don't cater to them anyway. So in for me, like, you can think whatever it is that you want to think. I really don't care. Like, I'm going to communicate what I think is best in the best way that I can, and then you just take it however you want. So, and it has been largely positive. Wait, I haven't gone live on Instagram. So it has actually been largely positive. It is true that it has been true for, I think social media knows that the dominant voice on social media, those are minority. That's the minority. They're just loud, but they don't actually represent the majority. And that's not just in K-pop. That's across all issues. Usually, the dominant voice is not the majority. So just that they are the loudest because they have time to do it. So I've decided I'm not going to cater to haters anymore, to toxic fans or whatever. So I'm going to put out a content and you can interpret it any way that you want. So, okay. We have several things to talk about. We're going to be talking about some projects that will be coinciding with the comeback of BTS. Someone asked me to explain why, why these people or why these acts are actually going to coincide. Like, why are they going to do their project exactly at the time when BTS is coming back? Do they think they can beat BTS or something like that? Um, I admire that kind of mindset, Miss Fairlane. Good, because you have a blocking technique. Thank you. I think okay. I think personally that BTS own variety show that they've done are more accurately translated because it's done by the staff. Could be, yeah. To be honest, if someone wants to twist something, they will, despite the true info being right in front of their eyes, right in front of them. Look at the nonsense that happened from the haters to after the last group live. Um, a fire butterfly. BTS I've only watched HB. I like his detailed explanation. Not try DJ Gino. Okay, so we're going to talk about the projects that are going to coincide that with the comeback of BTS. So that's one topic. We're going to talk about the changes, so news and updates. And this is going to include Billboard rules, changes, the response of YouTube, implications of all of that, Live Nation, how things are going to change. So we're going to be a little bit more extensive because I do think this is a major development that's going to affect not just BTS, not just K-pop, but the entire music industry. And then we're going to be talking about also I'll share with you how I fact check some things. And then we're going to touch a little bit on AYS. This is such a cute picture, huh? And then we're going to be talking about Team Bunnies and then some things that HYBE is doing. What's with the guy who is in trouble for his doctor not being an actual doctor? Why is he being blamed? We'll get to that. So, should we start with that? The Billboard changes. I'm getting my coffee. You're getting your coffee early. Okay, so let's talk about the Billboard changes. How's that? Okay, so as you know, Billboard, I think last night they announced that they are changing their rules. So there will be less points on sales and more points on sorry, they are lowering the barrier for free streams. So it used to be, this is how it's going to go. Um it used to be that for one album unit, you need 2500 ad supported, or sorry, this is the new rule. It's going to be every 2500 ad supported streams or 1000 paid subscription streams, that would be one album unit. It used to be 3750. So it used to be 3750 ad supported streams to one album unit. So it's a decrease of 67%. So it is now for for to get one album full album units, they need 2500 ad supported streams instead of 3700. Okay, so they lower the barrier. And then so it's much easier for singers, for artists to get one full album unit now. Okay. So that's a major thing. And then for paid streams, they put it lower by 25%. Okay. And then YouTube actually responded. So YouTube said that, okay, I'll show you the actual page so that we are all looking at the same thing, so that you know I'm not changing anything. Okay, here. Okay. Okay. So they responded. Do you see it? Okay, there you go. So they responded and said YouTube is where billions of fans worldwide connect with music, from official music videos and live streams to channels like NPR Tiny Desk. The incredible work of artists is to build a community on YouTube, and their massive fan engagement is being undervalued in Billboard charts. Billboard uses an outdated formula that weighs subscription supported streams higher than ad supported. This does not reflect how fans engage with music today and ignores the massive engagement from fans who don't have a subscription. Streaming is the primary way people experience music, making up 84% of the US recorded music industry. We're simply asking that every stream is counted fairly and equally. So they wanted Billboard to count free streams on YouTube equal with paid streams. That's what they've been demanding. And allegedly, they've been in negotiation for years now, at least three. So whether it is subscription based or ad supported, because every fan matters and every play should count. After a decade of long partnership, After a decade long partnership and extensive discussions, they are unwilling to make meaningful changes. Therefore, after January 16, 2026, our data will no longer be delivered to Billboard or factored into their charts. We are committed to achieving equitable representation across the charts and hopefully can work with Billboard to return to theirs. Until then, if you're curious about what music is making waves on YouTube, you can visit our charts here. So they do have their own charts. This is it. So if you want to go there, you just type chartsyoutube.com and then you're seeing it, right? Oh, you're not. Okay. Wait a minute. Why is it not changing? Okay. So, hmm. Okay, so I'm not sure why it is not showing on your screen, but they do have their own YouTube charts. Okay, so why do YouTube cares? All right. So let's answer that question. But YouTube delete views. Okay. So after this, Billboard actually responded. Okay. And they said this is their statement. There are so many there are so many ways a fan can support an artist they love, and each has a specific place in the music ecosystem, a spokesperson for Billboard said. Billboard strives to measure that activity appropriately, balanced by various factors including consumer access, revenue analysis, data validation, and industry guidance. It is our hope that YouTube reconsiders and joins Billboard in recognizing the reach and popularity of artists on all music platforms and in celebrating their achievements through the power of fans and how they interact with the music that they love. Okay. So, um okay, let me return to my view. Okay, so uh they care primarily because the let me see if you can stop sharing. And then I'm trying to share with you the charts of YouTube here. Can you see it now? Okay, so this is their chart. So if you want to go there, you just type chart.youtube.com. Okay, and they do their own chart system there. There is trending music, weekly top songs, daily top music videos, weekly top artists, daily top songs on shorts, so stuff like that. So they have that, and it is updated real time, they said. So I think almost daily. So okay, so why do they care? Um because the way people look at, or the way people consume music is different now. It doesn't stay the same, primarily because there are a lot of factors that come into play when with our consumption behavior, one of which is technology, and of course human nature. A lot of us naturally gravitate towards certain ways of discovering things, and then as technology caters to that behavior, those behavior gets amplified or they evolve. In other words, for example, human beings are naturally a visual person. We are all naturally visual beings. In other words, we respond to visual cues better than we do to other cues, better than texts, better than anything else. And then if you combine hearing and then visual, we respond to that better. And so that means that as the technology caters to that behavior, then our tendency is to gravitate towards those platforms that provide those technologies or resources to us. And so if certain charts like Billboard, for example, refuse to adjust to that, then it does not really reflect current trend. It's just reflecting the same type of measure that they've been using since 10 years ago. So in from YouTube, at least this is what they claim. They simply want it reflected equally, because free streams does not mean less interest. You're just either you don't have the money to pay for paid streams, or just simply how they actually discover music. And for YouTube, they're simply saying don't do that. Don't weigh something higher just because it's paid. Other people simply have more money to pay and others don't. Okay. So that is the explanation. Now, in all fairness to Spotify, it's not Spotify, Billboard, they are trying. That is why they lowered the barrier now. So in the old album count, you need 3750 ad supported streams to have one album count. Now it's just 2,500 streams. So that's a decrease of 67%. And then for paid streams, it used to be 1,250 and now it's 1 grand. So 1,000. And that is a 25% decrease. So they're kind of trying to actually reflect trends. It's just that for YouTube, they're saying that's not enough. You're still weighing paid more than free streams, and that is just not how things work. Okay, so the bigger question, however, is that great, you're adjusting it. That's great, but you're not dealing with the biggest problem of all, which is radio spins. And we all know that radio spins don't necessarily that's they don't necessarily radio spins don't necessarily reflect actual audience interest. Just because radio stations play it doesn't mean that I'm interested in it. And we don't even know who these people are that's still listening to radio. There are certain songs that get one spins that gets one spin. There are certain songs that get one spin every hour. And that's all because the station manager has a relationship with the label. So Billboard keeps on changing their rules on aspects that are being controlled by the fans. But they aren't changing the rules on aspects that the fans don't have any control over. And Billboard is supposed to be about the fans, about what is being listened to, what we like to consume. So it is becoming more obvious that Billboard can't give up their source of income. And understandably so, because they are a business. But it's so blatant now because they changed sales because they know that with the lack of control over radio, fans were turning to sales in trying to offset what we can't get in radio spins. And now they're changing the rules on and then they changed the rules on streams. So it doesn't it is so obvious and so blatantly obvious that what they are doing is controlling how how they reflect or how they present actual trends instead of doing something about a chart metric that does not reflect the trend. So so I can't I don't necessarily blame or I'm not actually surprised with what YouTube is doing because it does undermine what what they are measuring, right? It does not when their charts are consistently inconsistent with Billboard, it feels like they are the ones YouTube is the one that is fake or inaccurate. When in fact, at least to what they are measuring, they are more accurate than Billboard. Okay, I hope that that made sense. Okay, Billboard doesn't want to offend radio play, but doesn't really care or understand the new reality of how music fans consume music. Correct, yeah. Okay, so the implications, this has however a larger implication. It is now a battle between validation and visibility. At the consumer level, the decision of YouTube to walk away, exposes a long-standing disconnect between what actually people are listening to versus what the charts are showing. Most global fans experience music primarily through free ad-supported platforms like YouTube. And we all know that's how that's actually how people discover new music through social media and primarily through YouTube. That's like in every media study. that has been done, one thing is consistent, that people actually discover new artists and new music through social media. And that's normally free. So if you're saying that that is less valuable, then why am I submitting it to you for when you're not giving enough or same value to my data versus paid ones? Okay, so yeah, it is validation versus visibility. Um, BB can feature an article on BTS and get the side photo box, but rag the system. So now, what you let's understand or kind of appreciate YouTube for what they did, because the truth is that a huge part of YouTube earning comes from labels paying ads artist for their artists to get more spins or more views on YouTube. And that's just the reality. That's how they earn, right? And we all know which groups are notorious for that. They they would buy a lot of ads so that people will actually have a way to constantly sorry, for people, they would constantly buy ads to add to the spins of the artist. And so that counts towards Billboard. Okay. So you do have to understand that they're going to give up a huge part of that revenue ad because they're not going to submit it anyway to Billboard. And so if I'm a label, why am I going to waste money on you if that's not going to count to the chart? So they are going to give up a huge part of their income. Okay. I just realized that there are a lot of people that are chatting on Instagram, but I'm not seeing their chats here. That is odd. Okay. So, okay. So, and then the other thing is, however, maybe the reason YouTube decided we're going to give up that, um, income, that source of income, because we have somewhere else to get it from, and that is from copyright. Okay. So usually what happens is if I use BTS music, for example, on my own YouTube videos, the singer either splits the income with me or they take everything. So that really depends on the owner of the piece of the music. Okay. So that earning comes from ads, right? Because I earn from ads from YouTube as a creator. So if I earn, for example, a grand from a video that I posted using the music of BTS, then it's going to be up to Big Hit whether or not they want to split that income with me or they get all the earnings. So if people on YouTube continues to use the music or the songs of these artists, then the copyright money goes up. And that has been happening in the last 5 years. So since 2022, copyright money has been steadily going up. So they're earning more and more from copyright. And no one is spending except for ads, except for companies, businesses that are putting ads on those videos. So maybe they finally did it because they realized, so we have somewhere to offset the money that we're going to be losing. Okay. So now with that move, since they are not going to join the charts, YouTube is going to be primarily for discovery. So the function of YouTube itself in the music economy is now going to be for discovery rather than just consumption. Okay. So they're clearly positioning themselves uh in that way. You want to you want to get discovered, they're essentially telling artists, you want to get discovered, you go to YouTube. Okay. Now, since they already started creating a separate chart, which has been on for a while, that could also be a gigantic effect on Billboard. It means that people's way of measuring the success of a song is starting to become fragmented because we used to rely largely on Billboard, right? It's Billboard Hot 100 is everything. If you get to top 10, get to top 5, if you get to number 1, then you are so successful and whatever. But with this move, with them creating their own chart and then other platforms creating their own chart, it's becoming it's becoming fragmented. The way that we look at songs, they're becoming fragmented. So there is a huge possibility that in about 5 to 10 years, you want to go down, baby? Okay. And go down. Say bye bye to everybody. Say bye bye. Bye bye. Okay, bye bye. Bye bye. All right. Okay, so and it has already been happening. If you I'm sure that everyone knows that there are a lot of people who keep track on the chart, the chart of Spotify. So they have their own ch- tracking system on who are the leading singers or leading songs on their platform. So you have weekly top songs, weekly top artists, top albums. Angel Star, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Angel Star. Um okay, so that's what's going to happen. Like people are going to now look at a song and not just rely on Billboard to measure its success. They're starting to look at different charts, and Spotify has been doing it for a while. That's why it has become one of the measures of success. And with YouTube creating their own chart, then it's becoming even more fragmented. So, and the one thing that um so yeah, so it's becoming the chart positions in Billboard. The chart position of a song in Billboard or artist or album is going to be less representative of the global fandom or the global listening behavior. So then artists with massive music YouTube first audiences may see a diminished chart recognition despite obvious reach on YouTube platform. So the divorce is going to strengthen both. Going to strengthen, sorry, not it's going to weaken Billboard and strengthen other charts. Now, the one advantage that YouTube has over Billboard is that the incoming generation, actually all existing generations, they are a visual first generation when it comes to communication. They like seeing things and not just hearing things. That is why BTS became such a massive hit, because the songs, for you to fully understand it, for you to fully get the entire narrative, you need to watch the music video, listen to the song, read the blog posts, read the notes, the books, the manga, all of the there's so much you have to consume. All of it and majority of it are visual based, and that is becoming more common in the for new artists because they understand now how people consume music. Okay, so that's the biggest advantage of YouTube. They're visual first. So there has been consistent studies. Nadira, thanks for all that you do. But Borahe, thank you, Nadira. Thank you. Merry Christmas. So the visual now, there's been so many studies. The latest one was conducted by Nielsen, and it revealed that visual content triggers memory encoding 74% faster than doll alternatives. So alternatives, sorry, text based, for example, or even sound. Over all of those things, visual content is way higher in allowing us to retain things. And YouTube has that. So it strengthens the argument of YouTube versus Billboard that if anything, their chart should weigh higher because this is how people actually consume. It's their through visual, not just through sound, not just sonic. Um, And then in controlled lab settings, participants, now they conducted this research, they conducted in a controlled laboratory setting. So participants exposed to high quality visual presentation showed 21% more emotional intensity and 16% greater likability compared to boring or poorly designed versions of identical content. So again, it strengthens their argument that their platform actually is a strong indicator of cultural movement, cultural trend, or just what people are actually consuming versus just radio or streams, sonic streams. Okay. I like YouTube because I can stream things that are not on Spotify and Apple. True. And then documents with, this is still part of the research, documents with superior visual design generated 26% higher emotional identity and 9% improved likability. So we really respond to visual things. Okay. And YouTube has been saying that to Billboard for a while. Okay, so at a consumer level, this decision exposes, as I've said in the beginning, a long-standing disconnect that most global fans experience music primarily through free things. And that everything that I said contributes to that argument. So now the result is that artists most likely will lean harder into YouTube native strategies for discovery because that's how they gain fans. That's how they're going to establish a connection with their audience. And then treat Billboard as one metric of success, not the definitive metric of success. Because they will know that it's not going to fully represent the impact that their songs have. So, not that Billboard won't count anymore. It's just that it's not going to be a definitive chart. So, YouTube charts will be used for views, for engagement, and it's going to be a standalone proof of impact. So, it's not going to be measured across with every other chart. It's going to be a standalone one. So, then if this continues, and it's already happening, the one advantage that YouTube has is that it is backed by Alphabet, the umbrella the mother company is Alphabet. Uh, Under Alphabet, Google, Google Fiber, YouTube, all of those things. So since they have all of these platforms, companies that they own, they can certainly amplify their own listing and they can certainly amplify the importance of the content that they house within YouTube. They have that power, right? And so they can influence cultural change. They can influence what we see on search. And to my paid members, you know that I've posted several pictures of me attending YouTube talks and all of those things. And that has always been their concentration because they know that people are shifting to AI like searches, meaning when you search things now on Google, you're not just searching through keywords, you're actually having a conversation with their platform. As they strengthen that, they're so active in strengthening that and improving their AI that then they can redesign the content so that it responds exactly to your query, right? So then, if you ask for a new song recommendation, their content will be structured so that it fits perfectly to your query. So they will come up number one on their own search. Okay, so that's the support that they can provide their own content. So now the YouTube charts are offering real time charts. They're saying this is real time, so it's constantly changing. They are offering global and regional rankings, not just US based, and transparent view counts and engagement metrics. Because we see the view count change, we see the likes, we see the comment, we see the actual comment of people. So it's easier for us, for the fans, or for the brands that they're going to be working with to actually look at the actual sentiment of fans. It's not just numbers. There's context to the numbers. Okay. Um I yell at Google, it never listens. Okay, so now by walking away, YouTube actually asserts itself as not just a distributor, not just a promotional tool, but a primary cultural index. So they really are competing against Billboard. They're telling Billboard, we're not just going to be one data to you, we're going to be our own measure. So the fault line between revenue and reach will also widen. YouTube's withdrawal actually forces labels to confront an uncomfortable truth that revenue does not necessarily equal cultural dominance. A hit that lives on YouTube may be undervalued in traditional metrics, but overperform in touring, merch, and brand equity. This is important because there are so many artists that are dominating Billboard, but they can't sell out theaters. So many artists that are generating billions and billions of streams and are constantly in Billboard Hot 100, Billboard 200, and whatever. But then they tour, they can't sell out a theater. So, what does that actually tell you? Does it say that it's mostly GP? They're listening to your song simply because it's getting recommended, maybe? So, the long term effect is that it's going to pressure labels to renegotiate how they present success to investors, right? Because then social media is becoming very good in exposing the authenticity. I really hate that word because it's been so overused, but it actually exposes the authenticity of the claims of different artists. You will always have segments of fans that will defend their favorite artists no matter what, but it does not change the fact that they are not selling their tickets. You're not selling your tours. So then if you have another chart, add to that, you have another chart that better reflects, that's actually in sync on what's happening with the tours, with brand partnerships. Then if you are, then you can there's a different you have to present your success differently to investors now. If you're Billboard of course has their investors, you're gonna have to explain to them, okay, why does it not reflect now? I can see it on social media. This act is selling out their tour, overselling venues, nowhere near the top in Billboard charts, but they're selling their tours and they're generating millions of views on YouTube. Explain it to me if I am the investor. Okay. So then it's going to change how they present success. You cannot now claim that you're the ultimate measure of cultural impact and of what people are actually listening to. Okay, and then they, of course, will decouple chart rank from marketing spend efficiency and then reassess whether Billboard still reflects total value of an artist, right? If you're not selling your tours, if people are not buying the products that you are endorsing, then what is this chart really for? Okay, and you can say the same thing about awards as well. Okay. So this is go also will redesign how artists structure their contract with brands, right? Because now it's changing. It used to be all about charts. Now it's about filling those seats whenever they tour. It's about brand endorsements. Are people actually consuming what you are selling? And if that's the case, then you better pay me accordingly. So if I can prove to you that whatever brand I endorse gets bought by my own fans, then you have to compensate me for it. It used to be structured very, very differently. It used to be just a one off thing. So for my paid members, you know that I constantly talk about brand endorsements and the structures of contracts and different things. And that includes BTS as well. So you do know what I'm talking about. Okay. So, but it's going to affect how artists are going to demand for their payment because they can see different measures. It's not just about Billboard anymore. So that will also leave unused money. Okay. So because there is less emphasis on sales and it's not just about this current change in Billboard chart. There's less emphasis on sales, right? So if you're a fan, if you used to buy 100 copies of an album, you can't anymore. You can probably buy 12, create different accounts, and just buy 12 different albums. So the 88, the money that you are supposed to spend on that 88 albums, that's now vacant. Where are you going to be spending it? And then now free streams, of course, score higher now. Then it motivates me less to have paid streams because then I can just let it run. And then I now have different charts to lean on. I can now look at Spotify. I can now look at YouTube. I think eventually Amazon is going to have their own. So if there is unused money, the question is, where will the artist put that? Because I need to make you spend as my follower. I need to make you spend. If I'm whatever, a singer or whatever, I need to make you spend. If I'm not making you spend through my sales, if I'm not making you spend through paid streams, then what can I do to make you spend on me? So brand partnerships can actually fill in that gap, right? Because I'm losing that money that you're supposed to be spending on me. So then artists can now say, okay, I now have different metrics. You can see here on YouTube, I'm good. These are my engagement, my likes. Look at the comments. I have my community on YouTube. So when I partner with a brand, I can present to them all of these metrics and ask for more money or ask for a much lucrative form of payment. Okay. Amazon does not need more money. Okay. So I hope I'm making sense. If it's not clear, ask me. Um, so now the Billboard is actually shaky when it comes to their positioning. I'm not saying that they will be irrelevant totally. I'm just saying they will not be as irrelevant as they used to. So global virality now becomes harder to measure accurately because it's so spread out. The measures are so spread out and they're being getting fragmented. So cultural moments may appear smaller on paper, on charts, than in reality. So when you look at the chart, for example, you're looking at Billboard, it's not an automatic, oh, that's the dominant song or that's the most successful song. It's now the question, primary question is, okay, who is missing from the chart and why? Like, why is this person on YouTube that's generating hundreds of millions of plays and views, they're not in Billboard chart? What's wrong? So they are opening themselves to more questions. Okay. Oh, I have bought a lot. I would have never bought also Gucci Human Made magazine because the cover. So, yeah, so the long-term impact is fragmented authority. So Billboard will be for subscription heavy marks. So those that are actually paying, and then YouTube for global reach and fandom engagement, touring for economic impact and depth of connection because you're only going to be paid for concerts and actually bother to go to a venue to watch artists that you really, really like. And then social platforms for cultural momentum. That it's so fragmented now. It used to be one ultimate measure of success, and that is Billboard. Now they failed to catch up. Well, they still have time, but for now, that's where we're headed. So, in that environment, the question stops being, did this song chart well? And it becomes, where did this song actually live? Right. So, if you want to look at the success of a song, you look at different charts now. So if it's high on YouTube, you know that it's actually engagement. People are searching for it, discovery. If you are, if an artist is selling out their venue, you know that there is depth in the connection. If they are high on their measure in social media, you know that it's really trending, cultural moments. And then if you want to see who are singers that have high support when it comes to paid subscription, then you look at Billboard, which is kind of sad for Billboard because they used to be the authority and they couldn't keep it. Yeah. So as I've said, internet and social media has really highlighted the divide between the majors and actual cultural powerhouses. And that's very sad. I guess we've been seeing it for a while now. Armies have been crying about it for such a long time. Not literal crying, but talking about it for such a long time now that the success of BTS and every member is not properly reflected on the chart. And this is the answer now. YouTube exposed them. It took one big corporation for the world to actually listen to what Army has been saying for a long time, that Billboard does not reflect actual cultural powerhouses. Okay. Longer they take to change, the more they will make themselves irrelevant. Correct. So many Billboard charting artists can't fill up a theater. And they know that. A lot of these labels actually know that. Now, as a precursor to what is going to happen in the future, companies that deal with live events, they're actually strengthening, which is kind of surprising because you would think that for Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who never existed without sophisticated internet connection and without sophisticated social media, you would think that they will lean more into digital consumption and digital connection. But that is actually not what is happening. What is happening is that this generation is putting a premium on um, in-person events. So yes, they will go heavy on their consumption, on their discovery on digital, but when there is a physical in-person event, that is a premium for them. Okay. And companies that deal with this, that know how to sync digital consumption and physical events or in-person events, that's the future. And Live Nation, unfortunately, is in the forefront. So they have been buying stakes on different venues in different countries. They have been partnering with different locations or different venues, and they don't have a competition. So, one of the major move that they made was to actually partner with Impact Arena of Bangkok. So that's one. They bought majority share of that. And also they have one in Latin America. So it's movie star arena. So they bought a stake in that as well. And this year, I think they're set to do 50 more, at least 50 more locations all over the world. So what's happening is there is a segregation between live events and charts. So as this company's Live Nation, there's no competition. As these companies actually master the link between digital consumption and the in-person event, they will dominate. Then the measure of success of an artist will lean more towards that than the charts. Because people are just going to say, "Oh, great! You got into Billboard Hot 100. Congratulations." Does not mean that you really are successful. Okay. They don't have a competition yet. Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons Hybe bought Company 360, because they know that in-person events will be the future. So I think that's one way of them trying to get into that business. But I do hope that there is another competition. We don't want to just have two companies dominating that market. We want many companies dominating that market. Isn't Impact in Thailand a major arena for K-pop shows? Yes. But one of the things that they said they struggle with in Thailand is that it's so close. Actually, Thailand and Vietnam, they're not very in touch with international artists. They like their own. They like their own artists. I guess that's true even for Japan or even for South Korea. They really like their own. So one of the ways that Live Nation is trying to utilize that behavior is to get into the country itself. So instead of forcing people to go to the US and Europe to watch concerts, they're saying, okay, if you don't want to leave your own country, we're going to go there and dominate there. Okay. I don't like Live Nation or Ticketmaster because during COVID, they couldn't help support their staff, even with all of their dollars. BTS donated to Live Nation, which I'm sure was a business reason. But okay. So, yeah. So, for now, they're going to dominate it. So, do you have questions before I move on to the next topic? Um, Talking about Hybe, India was the riskiest investment, in my opinion. 1 billion of poor people. What's the point? I'm so sorry to hear that. I saved to go see. Okay. They need live events to post on social media. I think that's what's going to happen. As I've said, the whatever company masters the integration of digital and in-person events, I think that's going to dominate because that's going to reflect, it's going to be a better reflection of, I'm getting an idea in my head as I speak, it's going to be a better reflection on the success of an artist, right? Because what good are charts? What good are streams if you can't sell a theater? So the more accurate it is, the more accurate the data is, or sorry, the more in sync the data is between in person events and digital consumption, the more accurate your measure is of the success of that artist. It's becoming more important. That's why there is premium in a venue actually confirming the sellout status of a concert. Hybe seems to emphasize live performance for their artists, just like so many countries. India is rising. I am sure they have assessed this carefully. India is a strong BTS supporter. My ex is the stepson and son of the Under the Boardwalk writer, and yummy yummy. I got love in my tummy. Um, she's an ex airline stewardess who makes comedy content for about flying and gives advice as well. Okay, um, so yeah, I think that's where it is headed, and unless Billboard actually catches up, I don't think it's going to. 100 is really for the US market. So you don't have to be American to dominate that list, but the consumption has to happen in the US. And I don't think that they're going to be changing that soon. They've opened other lists like Billboard Global 200, Billboard Global excluding US. So they've opened different charts, but they've always held a premium in the US because that's their country. So that's what they want to measure. But still, even in the US, it still does not reflect accurately the success of an artist or the success of a song. Because again, if you are dominating the chart and you can't sell out a theater, I don't think that's domination. um, I think the US charts are becoming more local by the minute. Does this mean that banks will stop buying the names on stadiums and arenas and instead you'll have YouTube or music labels buying the leases? Probably. Probably. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. Correct. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. You have, unless you have other questions, just put it in them in the comment section below. So I just found someone actually sent this to me after the live stream of the boys. Some fans, I think haters, are just losing their shit on social media. I don't know where this is posted. It was just sent to me, but it's one of the funniest I've ever seen. Oh, sorry. So it says BTS just got off Weverse Live, and okay, BTS just got off Weverse Live just now as OT7, and I don't know, something just fell off. Like they can't say anything. It was like something fell off. This is not right. It's awkward. While armies are celebrating, they're just looking for any which way they can actually criticize BTS. Wow, who thought that? Haters. There were a lot more posts like this. And she actually got a lot of responses saying that, oh yeah, did you see how this member is actually not smiling? Did you see how this member is looking at this other member? And did you see how this member actually felt like he didn't want to be there? He's definitely being forced, and they should be set free, the usual. If you read the comments, it's like, dude, you can stretch. that's that's beyond the reach. But anyway, that is hilarious. Actually, their POV is showing. Yeah. And then Sure Magazine, it used to be an online account, and they said that they actually are going to have a physical magazine now. And it seems that, I guess it's Jimin. That's going to be their first cover. So let's see what's going to happen. But it says that Sure Magazine Korea is excited to share great news for K-pop and K-beauty fans. Our first issue is dedicated to your favorite artist. You know who? Coming soon. Subscribe to Sure Magazine Korea on YouTube to be the first to see it. I guess it's a YouTube channel. I've seen so many comments about about how the industry has changed and BTS won't be able to compete anymore. Mhm. People still find it so hard to accept that after 10 years, the things that BTS has done and has actually started is being carried out and adopted by the industry. They still can't accept that. So anyway, it's a good day. So it's not. Okay. And then, okay. So this is an explanation on this issue. Key, who is a member of SHINEE, one of the groups that I really, really love. Um, so he paused his activities primarily because of healthcare problems. It's not really a healthcare problem, more on how he consumed the medications that he was taking. So allegedly, well, not allegedly, because this is what he said in a statement released through his agency, which is SM Entertainment. He said that he unknowingly got treatment or medicines or IV drips and other stuff like that from somebody who turned out to not be a doctor. He did not know, is what he's saying. He did not know that that person is not a doctor. Okay. So what happened was he was going through something health wise. And so he went to the hospital. So he said that in that hospital, that's where he met this nurse or doctor. I don't know. But this girl, they call her the um, injection aunt or something like that. So he would go to the hospital to get treatment and stuff like that. And then during the pandemic, I guess, when things got complicated to go anywhere, or when he started getting busy and could not go to hospital, this person offered to go to his house. And he thought that since he is or she is a doctor, it should be okay. She's a woman, the doctor, the person who claimed to be a doctor. So since Key met her in the hospital, he did not think there's anything wrong with her going to his house to administer the IV drip or any kind of medication because she's a doctor anyway. All right. So that went on for years. Now, Park Nare, who is actually a popular and successful comedian in Korea, got exposed for also getting treatment from this woman that's claiming to be a doctor. And it started because former managers or assistants of Park Nare filed a complaint against Park Nare for workplace harassment, including verbal abuse, assault, and then they exposed her for consuming medications via proxy prescriptions. They also claimed that she did not pay them well and she did not pay them on time, and there are other issues. Okay. So then um netizens of Korea, they dug deeper and discovered that the woman who's administering all of these injections and IV drip is not an actual doctor. Okay. So that's her. She's not an actual doctor. Okay, so initially it was just her. So she already announced that she's going to be stepping down from her shows and all of those stuff. Okay, so now they continued to investigate. Netizens continued to investigate, and they found a picture posted by this woman posting to be or pretending to be a doctor. They found a picture of her holding the dog of Key, who is a member of SHINEE. So netizens said, why do you have the dog of Key? Does this mean that Key was also involved or he was also getting treatment from you? So as soon as that was discovered, he issued a statement through SM Entertainment admitting to actually getting treatment from this woman and stepping down from all of his activities. Now, they said that he did not know. They explained everything that I said, that initially he met her in a hospital And then when he couldn't go to the hospital anymore during the pandemic, and then because he was busy with work, then she started offering to go to his house or sometimes to where he is so that she can administer IV drip and other medications. He did not know that she's not a doctor, but now he knows, and he is stepping down. Okay. So that's what happened. Now they said that there are other celebrities that are going to be exposed, and they're going to go after them one by one. When I say they, I mean the netizens. They said that we are going to expose everybody who's actually getting treatment from this woman. Okay. Is the woman comedian or a woman from one of Jin's first episodes? I don't think so. Jin's first episodes? I don't think so. No. If it wasn't for the picture that he would not have stepped down, he knew he's just saving his ass. I wish some hacker would expose this netizens. Why blame her victims? So that's actually my first question, because at least based on their stories, they all thought, Park Nare and Key, they both thought that she's a doctor because they met her in the hospital. So they were probably paying her extra for all of those things. So doesn't it mean that they're also victims? So some of the things that they took from her or she was administering will be IV drips, injections including nutritional and vitamin shots, and possibly antidepressants or psychotic drugs, and other treatments from a woman referred to as injection aunt. That's how they called her. And often in a non-medical setting like her home, office, car, and even during a filming trip to Taiwan for the show I Live Alone. So she would actually travel for the celebrities. And that's why I think having that freaking clinic in Hybe is even more valuable now than before. Because then there's an actual place within the company where idols can actually go, at least those that are under Hybe, where they can go and actually get what they need, right? Because it's just so important for these idols, for celebrities for that matter, to actually have the privacy when it comes to their medical needs. And when the clinic is in your company, then you have better protection. So I'm so thankful that they actually have this within their office. And we know that they don't just provide medical assistance, but also mental health assistance. So I hope they expand this. I hope that every agency actually start creating this within their agency so that the idols don't have to go out and make themselves vulnerable and expose themselves to things like this. It's just so disheartening. I love SHINEE. I actually like Key. I like Temin. I like Onyu. I love all those five members, even the one who passed away. So it's heartbreaking that this is happening to him because it seems that he really does not know. He did not realize that she's not a doctor. Good for Hybe continuing to think ahead to protect their artists. Correct. Many celebrities have lied to and taken advantage of. Well, that's true as well. There have been many artists who have lied about it. Um, we all know that South Korea has a very, very strict rule on antidepressants and antipsychotic drugs. That's actually they got how they got Park Bomb. So, knowing that, they should have taken great measures to make sure that whatever it is that they are taking is actually legal. So it is true that some celebrities have also taken advantage of that. But then there are also celebrities who have been taken advantage of. Okay. Um, Speaking of Jong Yoon, where's that? Speaking of Jong Yoon, today is the 8th anniversary of his passing. Okay. That's very sad. It's a sad day. It was a sad day for everybody. Hybe had the foresight and recognized where there was lacking and acted on it. Yeah. So I hope that every agency does this. I've told you guys before that story of, and this one is not medical related, but the lawsuit of Sang, the hip hop duo, where there is a vendor, one who's renting a place in the building that they own, and the vendor actually played the victim card on them and dragged the lawsuit for 5 years. For 5 years, he wasn't paying rent. he wasn't paying their lease, and he couldn't be kicked out, stuff like that. And they know how to play the victim card, because in South Korea, they also treat the victim, they also hold the victims accountable. I think that's one disadvantage there, because they feel like, well, it's your, especially if you're a celebrity, it is your responsibility to make sure that you're following the law. If she wasn't a doctor, how was she in the hospital and passing as a doctor? Um, I think she does work for the hospital, but I don't know. But I think she does work for the hospital. That's how they met her. But she's not a doctor. The idols, there were there were talks that she was educated in the US, but she's not a doctor in Korea. So there are talks like that. The idols are victims, and I think they should have a health insurance provided by the agency, but I refuse to accept the money I work on has my medical records. The stuff should be 100% private. She was probably a nurse. There are other, there's, yeah, there are some people who say that she's actually a nurse. And what is Key stepping down from? They have a tour right now. So he's stepping down from that. Yeah. Okay, so the brand stars yearly, they score the different brands in South Korea, and then they come out with a list. They call this the representative brands of South Korea. They anticipate that these are the brands that will carry the name of Korea and also bring in money. And BTS has been there for the last 8 years. So, um, Arirang News just reported that Jay-Z investment firm that has been, yeah, since last week. Yes, he has a fund. He has a fund, a K-pop fund. Yeah, yeah, he's very business savvy. I mean, he's a billionaire. So injection aunt is crazy. So BTS has been there for 8 years. They are there again. So that includes Olive Young. That's the one that they said that they're going to open 2 branches here in the US. I'm waiting for that. And then Genesis, the Sheila, which is like Paris Baguette. Oh, I love this. I love this pastry store. Bibigo, all of those things. So these are the representative brands of South Korea. Again, BTS has been there for 8 years. Le Seraphim, congratulations to them. They actually dominated the Oricon chart. So they're basically the best selling Korean group in the Oricon chart. So they have, I mean, you really can't beat Sakura. That's sorry, that's Japan's darling. She has been their darling for the last 10 years. So they dominated almost every um category for Korean performers. So best selling single, best selling album, best tour, all of those things. They dominated it. Congratulations to them. The Fox News of all outlets editorial about killing the goose that lays the Hallyu eggs was very apropos. I love Paris Baguette. I like blaming victims of SA. Yeah. Yes, maybe a medical assistant. Okay, so projects that are happening coinciding with BTS comeback. So Jay-Z is not a businessman, he's a businessman. He is a mogul. I mean, you can't say enough with how business savvy that guy is. He's just he just has it. Like he can spot something and he knows how to invest in it. He knows when something is going to make money. Mm. Okay, so actually, so as I was talking, I'm going to share it now while I'm talking. So I guess that's really one, going back into the live events and the charts and stuff like that. I think that's one need that we all have as fans. Like we just want an accurate measure on the sales of a show versus digital consumption. If we get an accurate measure of that, then things are going to get better. The problem really is that everything is so vague. I mean, I do think that this is a great move for YouTube, decoupling from Billboard, but they're not. Neither is a perfect company. And Spotify, also is not a perfect company. We don't know how how they shave the streams, the same delete the views. So stuff like that, like the lack of visibility, like all of these mega corporations operating without us really understanding and just us counting on what they're saying. It's just, it doesn't provide us the complete picture. So, however, it does not mean that we should be affected on how we consume the things that we like, music, concerts. It's just that for documentation purposes, it would be nice to have something more accurate than uh, opaque measures. And that's why I think if a company ever puts anything in the blockchain, I think that's going to be good, because then it will be an accurate measure. One consumption, one person, one ticket sales, one person. You can see the venue itself, how many people are actually buying, not buying, and stuff like that. So, um, if there is a company that's going to do that, I think it's going to make it big. Are you going to cover the new Hybe connection with Africa? I did last live stream. I talked about that. Tyla and African. Yeah. I quite extensively actually what they're going to be doing. Essentially it's marketing and promotions and the budget, and then they're going to create Weavers in Africa. They're going to be working with two different they tapped the assistance of two different, I forget the names of the people, but they're going to be partnering with them in designing marketing programs for Tyla, and then eventually get some of the Korean artists in Africa. But yes, Fairlane, you are out of sync. I am out of sync. What do you mean? My audio is out of sync with my video? I am out of sync. Okay, let me see if I can do something about it. Okay. Give it like a minute. Still out of sync? Give me a minute or two. It should be. It's a lagging chain. Refresh. Is it Fairlane or YouTube? Everyone refresh. Okay, I did something about it. Let give it like a minute or two maybe and see if it's going to sync. It reminds me of that old time Japanese monster movies dubbed in English. Yes, but I think it's the network thing because it's been pausing too. It happened last few lives. It's not out of sync for me. Great video. Okay. So okay, so the touring for 2026, these are some of the groups that will tour, and also some of these groups are going to drop an album exactly right around the time that BTS is going to drop an album. So you have BTS, of course, they're touring. We've known that for a while now, since almost as soon as they were dismissed. I mean, after they finished their enlistment and got discharged, they already announced that they are going to do a comeback spring of 2026. That's like, I think, in the very first live stream they did as a group, if you would remember. And I think it was V who announced it, who actually said it out loud that they are going to drop an album. Um, they are they will drop the new album spring of 2026 and then go on a world tour. So this is nothing new for BTS. We've known about their schedule for a really long time. And right and so people, a lot of acts or a lot of agencies actually redesigned the schedule of their artists to drop right around the same time. So Twice's tour has also been has been scheduled for a long time. Right after they were done with the last world tour that they have, they already started talking about their tour, which will happen which will start in the last quarter of 2025 and go all the way into 2026. So I don't think they intended to do it that way. It just worked out that way for them. They did not tour with Stray Kids, meaning they allowed Stray Kids was touring, so they did not do it simultaneously. Okay. So Twice is going to do it. Cordis is actually going to have their first tour in 2026. Now, I'm going to bet that they're going to do a smaller tour in the US, but they will tour in the US. I think they're going to do like very small venues maybe and test the market, but I think they will include North America in that tour. I don't think they have enough materials as of the moment, so I think they're going to be releasing 2 more albums before they go on a tour, but they definitely will, I think. So that's for Cordis. So Blackpink is a little surprising for me. I know that I think I've mentioned this to you guys before that they were going to drop their album. Even when they were announcing they were going to drop it in November, I knew they were going to drop it in March. Because the last announcement was that from YG was that they're going to do it January. It's the middle of December. If they drop it January, they would have announced it a long time ago. So I think it's pretty locked that they're going to do it in March as well. And I think that has always been the plan. Okay, so that's for Blackpink. And then Cordis should tour with BTS. I was actually for a while I was thinking like are they going to open or something, but I don't think they're going to do it. World tour, I just said that. So Cordis with 4 songs, you're kidding, right? So I said that. So I think because they don't have enough materials, I think they're going to release 2 more albums and then go on a world tour. Will drop their 5 years from now. Will drop their album 5 years from now. So and then for Baby Monster, they're going to do another tour. Um, yeah, another world tour. I'm going to do that. And then Espa is going to do another world tour. TXT will have another tour. NCT Dream, Rise, 80s. The Rise one, I wasn't really sure when I'm getting this from different sources, but I wasn't really sure about Rise considering they had to postpone or cancel a lot of the tours that they scheduled because they couldn't sell the tickets. So I was like, are you sure? Where is this? I just can't imagine that after canceling so many shows, they would try for one more tour. But they will have 4 new songs in their album and tour the entirety of their 40 songs again. Okay, so I wasn't really sure about Rice, but they were on the list. So 80s is going to tour. Le Seraphim will drop another album. Most likely, probably one full album and one more mini album and then tour. So probably in the last quarter of next year, 17 will be touring, but this one is going to be a unit tour. And then P1 Harmony Idol is going to tour, and Mix will be touring, and then Treasure will also be touring. Then there are a few smaller ones. Meow will most likely do it. All Day Project, I'll It, probably Asia, Yeonjun, sorry for the spelling, and then Baekhyun and Hearts to Hearts. So the thing is that, okay, let me just explain some things. So for Les Seraphim, the target is to actually do a bigger scale this time, a bigger scale concert. So but for them to do something bigger, they do need to elevate their level of success in the US, right? Because that's where the money is. The spending power is in the US. So if they can sell out a lot of venues in the US, then they make their money back. The last okay, so it's all hinged on the succeeding projects that they're going to be having. So there are talks of them actually doing more Western based projects in the first quarter of next year. So they will be having some major partnerships, and that includes brand partnerships and also collaborations with Western singers, because that's one way of getting their name out there. Okay. There are also major projects when it comes to syncs. So some of the but syncs. You know what syncs are, right? So songs that are going to be used for movies and TV shows or commercials. Okay, so that's another way of getting their name out there. And then there is going to be a better PR handling. So there is a better plan for them moving forward in the US. Because they need one big splash in the US for them to really make a mark. Because the goal is to do something bigger this time. They definitely want bigger arenas and more shows in every state, in every stop. Because for this year, they did one show in every stop. So they definitely want two to three, maybe even four, probably two in every stop, and then drop the theaters altogether and just go for theaters. But them for them to actually make sure that they sell out, they definitely need a bigger success in a major project in the US. And so they are going to be busy in the first quarter trying to hit that target so that when they tour in the last quarter, announce it in the third quarter, then they will be faced with better sales. Um Okay, so I didn't think so, but I could have missed it. Thank you. Okay. So are the group basically wanting to ride on the publicity of BTS will be getting? They should stand on their own, and their own fans hate when you say BTS paved the way. Make it make sense. So, uh, okay, so for Cordis, is they're going to be starting earlier. I think there is a big disconnect, not really a big disconnect, but yeah, I guess big disconnect. A lot of the older fans don't understand what Cordis is doing. They're just really doing it in a different way. I'm not saying that, and even they are acknowledging that they are able to do all of these things because BTS paved the way for them. So even they're saying, even they are acknowledging that, like they're able to work with all of these producers because they are under Big Hit, and Big Hit has BTS under them, and even they admit that. They acknowledge that the work that they did in the first album for in Los Angeles would not have been possible if it wasn't for BTS. So, and they have the luxury of experimenting because of BTS, because they have that money behind them. If it wasn't for BTS, then they wouldn't have been able to do that. Everything that they're doing, BTS did. Self-produced, work with other producers, whatever. All of those things BTS already did. The difference is that BTS has to earn the money first and then do all of these things. So, but I think the best way is to not just not deal with the haters, right? They will always be there. They fans that hate other fans or other groups will always be there. Just don't deal with it. I mean, the mere fact that the group itself is very, very respectful, they acknowledge what BTS has done and is able to provide them. I think that's enough. Now, they do need to earn their own keep, and we need to give them that chance as well. So I do think that at some point, BTS has to not be mentioned in the interviews, in people writing about them, because they do need a chance. So, the same way BTS needed a chance then, nobody gave it to them. Um, we know now how hard it is when no one is giving you a chance. Okay, so why? Why is everyone coinciding their comeback with BTS? Because humans understand contrast, not isolation. That is, if you would remember, almost every big name has a rival. Just observe how every big name has a rival. So when the Beatles was there, Rolling Stone was the rival. Michael Jackson, the Prince was the rival. I'm not saying that the rival is not talented, right? I'm not saying that, but they always there always is a rival because that's just the nature of humans. When someone is popular, there will always be a group of fans that will not resonate with that person and would want to attack that person because it does not resonate with them. And so the natural thing for businessmen is to find someone else that will cater to the needs of the opposite group. That's just the nature of the beast. We can change it. That's just how humans work. We understand contrast. We don't like isolation. We don't like it when there is no competition. So, and then the other thing is that media need that narrative. Media requires that narrative conflict in order to sustain attention. If they keep on writing about one person, it becomes boring. So they like pitying two people or two acts against each other so that they have something interesting to write about. Or they like writing about this act surpassed this group. This act sold better. This act did better, blah blah blah. They like that because that gives the narrative more life. Like it's more vibrant. There's competition. Okay, so that's the reason. So that is why, as I've said, Michael Jackson versus Prince, Britney Spears versus Christina Aguilera, the Beatles versus Rolling Stone, name it. Anybody has a rival. What are like Tiffany versus Debbie Gibson, 80s. Was that 80s? Tiffany versus Debbie Gibson before Britney Spears. Yeah, there's always a competition. So you can expect that. So the rise of acts alongside BTS is not surprising because the media will always look for that. Okay, there's dominating. Who can we compete against BTS, right? So that's and a lot of these acts actually sustain their success after initially becoming the competition of someone else. Eventually they do have they if they're talented enough and if they have the right attitude, then they do sustain their success. Again, I'm not saying that the competition is not talented, but that's just the nature of the beast. Whitney Houston versus Mariah Carey, I guess MHJ versus MHJ. So it's just the nature, and that is why a lot of these people, a lot of these companies like coinciding, like going against BTS. And then there's cultural anxiety about singular. And this is an actual psychological phenomenon. We don't like singularity. We seem to be like uncomfortable with the fact that there's only one group or one act that's dominating. And so we like company there. It's better. It makes us feel better when there are more people within that range. And so, if people, so naturally, people is going to look for someone else, then these companies, these other labels, what they're going to do is ride on the coattails of BTS. Like, if these people are going to look for an alternative, we're going to be the alternative. And then the undeniable attention that BTS is going to give the K-pop industry. So they would like it to be them rather than anybody else. Yes, benefit from the attention because the attention is already there, so might as well benefit from them. And then projection of audience identity, as I've said in the first point, if you don't resonate with this group, at least you have an alternative. So it's just the job is to make sure that your name is being mentioned, so that whenever BTS is mentioned, people are going to think of the alternative or the competition. So they want to be that competition. It's as simple as that. And it's a brilliant marketing strategy, by the way. It doesn't always work because it highly depends on you'll be able to execute your marketing strategy correctly. And if the group has enough charisma or whatever, but it's a brilliant one. It does not, it, it has given a lot of singers, a lot of acts, a lot of success. And so this other group that keeps on mentioning or at least mentioned BTS once in an interview, saying sort of like alluding that BTS sucks as a group. What I would suggest, so that is they are utilizing the same strategy, right? That they are mentioning the name of BTS because they want people to think that they are the competition of BTS, that they are going to threaten the dominance of BTS. So they're getting their name early there. And so what I would suggest is to not give them that attention. They want us, they want armies because we have the power of the public narrative. If we don't bite, nobody is going to dominate. So let us not give them the pleasure. Let's not pay attention to them. I'm just jealous of how polished other groups are and the treatment they are getting, while Cordis, despite all the hype, are still being treated as rookie outcasts, sometimes, not always. They are banking on BTS antis. Yeah, they're definitely banking on that. Um, I say bring it. BTS won't lose anything. The haters will still hate, etc., and might take a bit of pressure of BTS. People need to ignore those children. Yeah. So I choose not to mention them in relation to BTS. You know my reasoning. The brand of BTS the only people that should benefit from the brand of BTS is BTS. And I think we know by now, it's so obvious how it works, right? associate your name with any BTS member in any way, shape, or form, and you get attention. And I just simply do not want to give them the attention. That is my simple reasoning. You're not going to. You need to make a name for yourself. So the only people that will benefit from BTS should be BTS. And we know how powerful they are as brands, as a group, as individuals. And I just refuse to hand that because I'm sorry, but I think I contribute to that power because I talk about BTS. I consume the things that BTS sell. So we do, all of us, we contribute to the power and to that brand. And I just don't want to hand it to anybody else. So just don't pay attention to that. Um, so they will always try. They will always try to get their name associated with BTS, and it will be up to us to make sure that it does not get associated. Um, Fairlane, they have the GQ Korea photos of Cordis. They look so odd, but the outfits are elegant. I think it's Dior, right? The outfits are Dior. But there's going to be a lot of competition for that position. The audience that doesn't like BTS is going to be very divided, right? With so many groups releasing with so many groups releasing music at the same time. Yeah. Um but they have the tendency to work together, right? So for example, if this group is going to release, other fans will work together just to beat that group, and they expect the same favor in return. That's how they work. But yeah, I support BTS as a group, and in the as a group and individuals, they are more than just a group. They have other financial avenues. I'm BTS and BTS only. Yep. I think that's one of the things that I've come to just I'm sorry, but there are so many groups that I like, right? You know that. I like Cordis, I like TXT, there's like so many groups, but I'm not gonna associate them with BTS. Did Army make Nuts number one on iTunes? Yes. Okay. So we're going to close with something very, very, very light, and that is Are You Sure? So, oh, wait, let's do this negative one first. So Team Bunnies actually responded to the lawsuit, or at least news of the lawsuit. But before that, HYBE was named the fourth biggest global concert promoter. So they are after Sony, Universal Music, and Warner Music. So just an explanation. This is a little deceiving. The number of Sony and Universal Music, they're deceiving because it's composed of different companies and they don't really isolate the music department exclusively. So it's kind of deceiving. It probably is lower. I would say that Universal is most likely higher than Sony, but because the Sony numbers don't isolate their entertainment department, then it's so hard. Sorry, their music department, so it's actually so hard to determine their real numbers. So, but it doesn't change the fact that HYBE already belongs to the top four in the US and globally. And I think with the return of BTS, they're going to inch closer to Warner Music for sure. And then once Cat's Eye makes it big or bigger, I mean, and then if they have other acts that makes it bigger globally, then they definitely will go up higher. Okay, so congratulations to HYBE. And as always, I want them to succeed because, as I've said, the BTS as a collective is the fifth biggest shareholder of HYBE. And so the success of HYBE, the financial success of HYBE, will grant BTS the financial freedom to do what they want. Okay. Actually, that's how I ended up liking aespa. I did not like their music at the start, but once I joined to one of their comebacks, they win me over. Sl- Sleep is a true fan. His music knowledge and how he shares it to educate is a breath of fresh air. Okay, so they enter the big four of the global performance market, proof of multi-home, multi-genre strategy, multi-label, multi-genre strategy. And then the fandom of New Jeans responded to the lawsuit or the news of the lawsuit. So this is the article. I'm going to summarize it for you. But before that, this was given to me. This was sent to me by somebody on X. It was so funny because apparently the trials of MHJ is a cultural event. So there's a lot of fans that actually book hotels and they go to the hearing of Min Hee-jin just to witness what's happening. And there is a hearing. So in the last hearing in December 9, there were several fans of MHJ. I guess they're not really fans of New Jeans, but fans of MHJ who actually went to the trial. Like they made it like a fan event or something. So she's probably the most popular New Jeans member. Well, Nugent said that there are six. So, okay. Suspicion and how. So they said that they were actually blaming Hybe for exposure or Bilith for publicizing the lawsuit because they said that it hasn't even been accepted yet. Like the court hasn't even assigned it yet, but it already went out. So they're accusing Lyft of making it public. So they said you're doing this, you're making it public early simply because you're looking for um, public like you want people to look at you favorably. You want to go against us. You want to defame us, basically. So they argue that the case had not yet been formally assigned to a court and at the time of reporting. So based on this, they're saying they claim the information likely came from Hybe, framing it as public opinion campaign rather than standard legal disclosure. So that's their first attempt. They're like, why did people know about it? It hasn't even been assigned to a court yet. They argue Hybe is aware of this structure. So they're saying that um, they're saying that they are not operated or headed, they're not led by a 17-year-old, that they are structured like a fandom, meaning there are different people doing their own things, and that Hybe is actually very much aware that they are not led by a 17-year-old. So they argue Hybe is aware of this structure but is intentionally shifting responsibility onto one identifiable party to weaken fandom pressure. Okay. So, if you would remember, many fans kept on insisting that Hybe is suing a 17-year-old and that it's so shameful of them that they're suing a 17-year-old. And then the fans actually, Team Bunnies actually said that nope, it's not operated by by one person. It's certainly not operated by a 17-year-old. So, wow, the changing narratives, huh? So they explain that K-pop fandom actions are decentralized. So they are not headed by one person. The protest statement, the chalk protests, Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism facts campaigns, last year's National Assembly audit facts campaign were all conducted by different fans or fan groups, not one centralized operator. They're saying. So I guess B-Lift is not suing a 17-year-old. They're suing different people, and all of them are professionals. They're adults. Okay. And then, so they said that what B-Lift is doing is they are simply suppressing the freedom of fandoms to fight for their idols. They said, you're suppressing our freedom, our right to fight for our idols. So they want to intimidate the fandom, discourage organized criticism, and create legal risks around fan activism. So they're making it a bigger issue. They're saying, nope, this is not about us. You're trying to silence all fandoms, and all fandoms should be against this, because if you win, it means that they cannot do what they want to do to criticize the company. Okay. Yes, rabid rabbits, keep telling on yourselves. They keep on changing the narrative, and then they criticized Hybe for Hybe's handling of the return of New Jeans. So they are insisting that at this point they should concentrate in announcing that that's New Jeans, they should already announce the return of the five members. They said, stop messing with us and just announce the return of the five members already. You're very irresponsible, and that's what you should concentrate on. They said, concentrate on that and don't go again after us, because you should just concentrate in announcing the return of the five members. Okay. Hybe is suing Nujin's fandom for defamation of the artist of Eyelid. Has Hani ever returned to Korea? I don't know if she has returned. So that's their response. Basically, they're saying that you should just concentrate on allowing them to return. That's it. Don't bother with our business. We're busy, something like that. They're changing narrative, and this illusion that they have the right to dictate to a company sounds very familiar. I remember there is this one person who insisted that she's the perfect person to do the multi-label system, and that Hybe should get her. She should be the head of that. I remember that person. Sounds something like that. Okay. Team Bunnies are insufferable and delusional. Did Hani ever make it out of Antarctica? I think she's back in South Korea. Yeah. Yep. They are back in South Korea. This is one of the favorite pictures that I have of the two. I really thought that JK will intentionally have Jimin jump. Because remember the first jump, he needed to like read something. And if he's able to read it, then Jimin doesn't have to jump. But he actually read it. I thought he was going to say like I just will not read it. That so for Jimin to jump, but he saved Jimin. Very good. The lobby buddy. One of my favorite pictures again. This is so cute. This was enhanced. This is a real picture but enhanced using AI. It's just to sharpen the features so it's not blurry. I love the different snapshot shots of the two sleeping because they would always be like in the same position. So in sync even when they are sleeping. The Busan boys. Okay, I got it. They make it an average of 10 to 15 million per year, but real net worth is about 50 million each. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Hybe needs to get rid of bunnies by breaking up New Jeans' separate MDH. I hope so. I mean, I wasn't exactly happy with the return of the two. I do want them to do well. Just for the record. I do want the five members to do well. I just didn't want them to do it in Hybe. They should just do it outside of Hybe. But the two are back, so okay. All right. I love during the live when they fell in sync into dancing immediately. I know, right? Um, so and even their laughter, like they have so many. Do you remember the scene? Like JK was being naughty. Ah, I get to spend some private time with Jimin. We get to sleep in the same bed. It was so cute, so funny. So, but yeah, so I will discuss this with you to my members only live stream. Because there, my friend was just so frustrated. He was like, "This is one of the worst translations ever in the history of Are You Sure?" Because I did watch the episode season one with him. And he said, "This is just bad. This is like really badly translated." So we spent the thing was that he was supposed to leave early because he's gonna leave tonight. So of course he wanted to make preparations and all, but we ended up like talking about it. And and they're long. The episodes were long. My God, super long. But anyway, he didn't punch Jim in the nose with the elbow this time. Yeah, no elbowing this time. So, and then I do think that. So I now kind of understand it better. If you would remember in one of the Disney Plus interviews that they did to promote Are You Sure, the two of them were talking about Jungkook not really liking traveling per se. Like he likes going to one person to do something. Like if he's going to do bungee jumping, for example, or for like he likes the destination, but he doesn't like the traveling per se. And so I think that's why Jimin constantly thinks of things that that Jungkook would look forward to doing. So if you would remember in Jeju Island, Jimin was also the one who thought about going to the go-kart thing and wall climbing and all of those stuff because he knows that Jungkook would actually enjoy that because he likes the destination. So, and in here, it was his idea to do this bungee jumping thing because in one of their conversations with the producer said like that thing that you want to go there. So that's so sweet of him to like think of like how will Jungkook will enjoy this. And then if you would remember, I think it was in Malta when they went to Malta, Jin and RM were actually talking about that. Like Jungkook is not the kind that would like that would go around just explore things and walk around. It's just not that he doesn't he's not that type of a person. and it's actually Jimin that would pull him into all of these different places. So it's nice that they know each other and they kind of accommodate each other so that the both of them would enjoy. um Jimin did say in that interview, like when Jungkook was saying like he doesn't really like going to different places, and then Jimin like, so you just go because of me? And Jong was like, yep, just because it's fun with you. So nice that they think about each other. In Malta, they said that. Yeah, this is one of the funniest moments because Jungkook looked legitimately terrified of this one. Like he can do something to harm him. Well, he might. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the behavior of swans, but he looked terrified. Like he was really backing away. I'm not sure. Like he wasn't sure what that what it wanted from him, but it was hilarious. And it was also hilarious that initially it was just him, and then Jimin ended up joining him, and then their never-ending love for Killing It Girl. They played it so many times in this series. So J Hope was always with them. I love when Jimin actually ended up cooking for Jungkook. So it seemed that it was okay. Like Jungkook was very, very, very appreciative, but I don't think it was the best one that he had. He did ask for more salt, but yeah, but this was like his expression. This is how happy he was that Jimin actually offered to cook so that he doesn't have to do anything. First the microwave, and now the swans. But yeah, he was so happy that Jimin offered to cook for him. Like his expression was like, okay, okay, I'm not gonna cook. What episode was this? It's 5 and 6. 5 and 6. The potato attack. Oh, we got a clear view of his tattoo. So it goes all the way to his back. I'm not sure. Like, do you think Policy? I really love the art of Policy. He's really doing a good job because we know that the first one, Jungkook, the first arm tattoo he got, he didn't really like it, and thank God he found Policy because it's now way better. So I was just wondering if it's gonna go like all the way to the back because we can see that it's already on his shoulder blade, right? So um, even after 28, Jungkook is still the golden matinee. Yeah. So yeah. So I think I hope that we could see a better view of the tattoo. So and then in front, it's like it's really covering his shoulder blade. So I was just wondering if it's gonna go like all the way to the back or something. I don't know. But although in the last interview, Policy did say that it's just like they still have 30% of it to do. They're only 70% done, but yeah, I'm really liking it. It's a work of art. Policy is a great artist and tattoo artist that needed to be wrapped up in the shower. I thought the sleeve reveal was a poke in the eye to the censoring of tattoos for many years. Jungkook did mention he wanted a full arm. He got the full arm, so I was just wondering if he's gonna go like half the back or maybe even a little lower because it's covering like his shoulder blade at the back. So I'm just wondering if it's gonna go even lower than that. But I like it. I like the art. I like him. I didn't like the first one. He did say that he didn't like the first one. So all the effort to cover and to repair, I think, is working really good. Um, okay, what is going on with the top? What is going on with the top? What do you mean? Oh, I think he was. I think he had. I saw some bandages. So I think he was drying something. He seemed probably like applied an ointment or something or a bandage that needed to dry up, and I think that's why he had it exposed so that it will air dry or something like that. Okay. Yeah, I hope we can get a closer look at the tattoo. I love this scene. I can't believe that after 12 years, Jimin still fell for it. He should have known that Jungkook couldn't jump. He didn't have his vest on him. So I'm glad he's getting something he likes. And then I love this when they were playing with the pictures. I love the first picture that Jimin did of Jungkook. The I forget the name. My friend told me what the name of the app is, the one that he's using, editing app that he's using. And then of course Jungkook had to get him back. The way that they laugh about it was just so refreshing. And then Jungkook of course got him back. So there is Jimin on this one. It's so funny. And Jimin was the one who volunteered to actually show it on camera. So I love this when they were swimming and Jungkook was the arms and then Jimin was the legs. Jimin still gets splashed with bottled water from Jin during the So What song. Yeah, so I just love how they laugh together. Like they can, and then they can do anything together. They can go on an adventure, like jumping and wall climbing and whatever, and then the paragliding, and they can also just sit in a park and still have a good time, still laugh their ass off. I love this part, Laji Molana. And Jimin already knew, like from one he utters it once and he knows it. And Jungkook no, I mean Jungkook utters it once and then Jimin knows about it immediately. So love that part. I love this picture that Jimin took of Jungkook when Jungkook was cooking. His wee little legs. I love this picture of that Jungkook took of Jimin and this picture that Jimin took of Jungkook. I love the lighting. I think it was perfect. The camera that they were using, I think it was perfect for that. Okay. So that is it. They have questions, they have requests. I will do my usual live stream on Fridays. So it's going to be extensive because there's a lot that we did not cover on Are You Sure? And then some other things with the branding that I was going to discuss. I wasn't able to get to the narratives, fake narratives, or wrong narratives that's been going around. Sent to me, and I want to correct some of them. So I'll do that in the next live stream. But so Friday for live for my members only, I'll do that. And then I'm gonna take my mom somewhere. I haven't actually decided where for Christmas, but I just want to take her somewhere because she's very extroverted. She likes going out. Um, but the problem I have with her is that she likes shopping. So if there isn't like places like that where she can actually shop and whatever, it doesn't really. She doesn't enjoy it because I was looking at going to Yosemite and I found like a really good accommodation. It was just like only it was so cheap. It was like 260 or something for 3 nights. Very, very cheap. And so I wanted it and I love it for my dog because it's right in front is a big yard that my dog can play. And it's like anyway. But she wouldn't enjoy it because there's no like shopping place or stuff. So please share your website. Oh yeah. So please go to the website. It's good that we're actually doing like uh a, a what do you call this? The it's good that we're doing a soft launch because we're finding a lot of errors in the website and it's not going to provide a good experience. So it's good that we're sort of testing things out before we actually jump into the formal one. So please go to the website, asianentertainmentandculture.com. If there's anything that I'm going to talk with you about, like the things that I'm discovering on the website, like what people are searching for. I'll share that in the next live stream. But for for the members, then I'll see you on Friday, and I will provide an update on the story as well. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being with me. Um, am I gonna see you before one more time before Christmas? If I don't, I think so, right? Right? Okay. Um, is there a court hearing tomorrow? I think so. Yeah, there is. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next week. But for the members, I'll see you Friday. Bye.